Hi, Dr. Fred Schofield for this, a Rhino Moment. And we're talking about the crackpot story. And the crackpot story is quite interesting because we've all got cracks in our pot. The most important thing is that, first of all, there was a little pot over here. And this pot is probably you. That pot was perfect. And that pot said, I am awesome. That's what this pot said. I am awesome. And this little pot over here, this little pot was not perfect. And so we draw the same similar pot over here. You can see I've had some what we'll say some practice in drawing this little pot, and it's got a little squiggle, which means it's got a little crack. And this little pot, they were being carried to the master's house by a servant. And this servant carried these pots, and the servant was there with his hat, and he was sweating because he was carrying these pots, see? And the servant carried these pots, and he was quite buffed, I'll tell you that. He was buffed carrying these pots after all these years. You see? There you go. He was carrying these pots to the servant's house. And this pot, after a couple of years, got tired. Why? Well, because this guy was always perfect. I'm awesome. I hadn't done anything, just did what was supposed to do. This one, on the other hand, had some flaws. And so he complained to the servant that he could only carry 50% because 50% of the water dropped out. And what the servant said was this. He said, did you notice along the way where the water was drooling out, I planted flowers to take to the master's table. And these little flowers grew. And so I picked these flowers and put them on the master's table. And the master loved that flower. And so he actually loved the crackpot. You know, we're all a little crackpot. And we've got flaws. You know, judgment, criticism. Judgment's a huge one. They're better than me. Well, then they are. Well, they're doing better than me. Well, then they are. Well, he's bigger than me. Or judgment, jealousy, condemnation, frustration. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I'm not making enough. We don't attract enough business. Whatever it is, we all are working on our imperfections. But what the servant tells us, oh, by the way, the servant had a little six-pack here, you see. He went to his chiropractor, got in alignment, see. And so what the story is, the motto of the story is quite simple, that it doesn't matter on your flaws. It doesn't matter about your flaws. Get over them. We all have flaws. Sow the seeds, and those flaws become beautiful flowers. So as we say, bloom where you're planted. And that is the crackpot story. Remember one little thing. Nobody is perfect. That is perfection. All of us have a few flaws. In fact, we as chiropractors know those little flaws are called subluxations. Adjust them. And may you bloom where you're planted. For this Rhino Moment, Dr. Fred.